Hello students, welcome to Engine Institute of Engineering and Technology. Here myself Mr. Jaiswal Kishan from Civil Engineering Department, and we are learning all about earthquake engineering. So let's start our today's session. So in today's session we will be considering some more theories or say technical theories. So let's proceed. So now today we are taking inertia forces in structures. So what this theory says that whenever the earthquake comes, there is a movement in the ground, or say if we considering one small building or say as a house, there will be some motion at the base of the building. So what will happen? The base will move, but the roof will try to stay at its position initially. So as soon as the base moves, the top portion of the building will try to remain at its own place. I will explain. Let's see. Here, earthquake causing shaking of the ground, so the building resist on it will experience motion at the base. Now, from Newton's first law of motion, even the base of the building moves. As I said, the base of the building moves with the ground. The roof has a tendency to stay in its original position. Initially, the roof will try to stay at its original position, and later it will shift. But since the walls and columns are connected to it, they drag roof along with it. So as base move, then column and wall take the roof towards it. So this is a similar case. This is just an example to explain that whenever we are in the bus or say in a moving bus, initially we are at the vertical position or say we are at the rest. But as bus start, our bottom portion will try to move ahead and our top body will try to remain at its original position, so it will be drag it backside. So this kind of condition similarly happen to the house or a building. So the bus moves suddenly, the passenger jerk backward. As soon as the bus moves, the upper body will try to remain at its own position, so we feel a jerk. Similarly, if it applies a brake and our body is in motion, then we will suddenly feel the sudden jerk, or say the bus stops suddenly, the passenger jerk forward. Look how in the building case that this the building at its rest. Wherever the earthquake waves pass, then the base will try to move and roof will try to remain at its own place. But as the walls are connected, it will also shift. The effect of inertia in the building when shaken at its base. So this tendency to continue remain at its original position is nothing but an inertia. In the building, since walls or columns are flexible, the motion of the roof is different from that of the ground. So the entire building is flexible, then the base move, then the top portion move, and then it moves in such a way. I will show you. Now when the ground moves, even the building is thrown backward. So the ground moves, the building is thrown backward, and roof experiences a force called inertia force. Now the Newton's second law of motion says that the force acting on the building is equal to the mass of the building times the acceleration. So as we have learned in the physics that F is equal to mass into acceleration. So what it says as per Newton's second law, that it will express an acceleration, mass into acceleration. Look, such condition will happen. Here you can see that the base is moving and its opposite way the roof is moving. If base moves this side, the roof will try to stay at its original position. So it is feeling like it is moving in a such way. So this is just an GIF representation. So look, if a frame kind of connection or say system is there, then this is a roof, this is a base or say foundation, this is a soil, and it's the actual position of the column. What happens if this move in right side, it will move back side, and then it comes left, it will move right. So its position will be like this. So in such case, the column will have such kind of condition. So what it is? As the inertia force experienced by the roof transferred to the ground via columns. So as there is a mass of slab which is at the roof level, and it will experience the maximum force, and it will try to move, and the force will be also experienced by the column also, so causing forces in column. Now this force is generated in the column can also be understood in another way, which is during earthquake shaking, the column undergo relative movement between their ends. So look, here one end is at right side and another end is at left side. Both are at its opposite direction, or say opposite place. So this distance between 2 points is nothing but my u. And what is u? U is nothing but a relative displacement. So in the figure, movement shows that the quantity u between the roof and ground. But given in this free option, so we have not locked the column. So column has a tendency to come at its original position after the force gets over. So column would like to come back to its original position. So column resists the deformation. What it says that during the sway, the movement of the column will occur, but column has a tendency to come back to its original position. That means column resists the deformation. So in the straight vertical position, if it is at straight vertical position, then there is no load, or say no deformation in the column. But as the force comes, the deformation will start. When force try to bend, they develop internal forces. The larger the force, the larger the displacement. So this is nothing but a theory of inertia structure. So this is an equation that Fs, stiffness force in the column, is nothing but K into U. What is K? Stiffness, and U is nothing but relative displacement. So for this reason, the internal force in the columns are called stiffness force. Now, horizontal and vertical shaking. So as we know that the ground will possess a wave, and this wave will create a horizontal motion as well as the vertical motion. So in three directions, it may be horizontal x direction, it may be horizontal y direction. So there are two horizontal directions and one vertical direction, which is z direction. So what happens? So earthquake can be came in from any of the direction. It can be, let us assume that this is a positive x direction. So it can be in positive x direction, it can be in negative x direction, it can be in positive y direction, and it can be in negative y direction. And also building will experience the vertical upward as well as the downward direction force. So what direction of forces we should consider? So generally we are considering only horizontal forces, as vertical forces are resisted by the weight of the particular member itself. So as we know that building is having a weight, and all the weight will try to attract towards the gravity. So there is not much more waves occur in which building will try to move in upward and just thrown out. No, it will not happen. So we are neglecting the vertical forces because all the forces are there by the weight itself, and we are directly focusing on two horizontal directions. So this is the principle of direction of the building. Next is flow of inertia force to the foundation. So this is a basic portion, that how the load will transfer. So the load will transfer from slab to beam, beam to column, and column to foundation, and that from foundation to the soil. So this load should be transferred smoothly. So for that we need to make a good bond between the two members, like as from slab to wall or beam to column, means slab to wall, or either slab to beam and then beam to column and then column to foundation. All the connections should be in proper way. So that's why the force can be transferred easily to the soil. So this is the flow of inertia force to the foundation. Maximum mass contained at the slab level, as I said, then it will transfer, it will take more load as the mass attracts the more force. So as the slab moves, it will try to take movement of the beam, and then movement of the beam to column, and then column to the foundation. so the load should be passed in a smooth way. I would also like to add one thing, that in previous years our engineers were more focused to the slab as well as on the beam, and they were not focusing to the columns. So what happened? We know that Bhuj earthquake, which caused a major disaster. So we have to make strong column, and we have to make sure that the load transfer to that column is sufficient to bear it. So earlier what happened? They were focusing on beam and slab only. They were making good ductile, they were making good amount of concrete size. So they were not focusing on the column. So that's the reason what major of the disaster occurs. Especially, so as we know that the load bearing structure, so load bearing structure are the structure in which columns are not there, only walls are there, and which cannot transfer load of horizontal forces because the walls are of brittle material which are made up of bricks. So majorly we have to make sure that the elements which we have chosen should be designed and detailed in such a way that it can transmit the load easily. So what it is this? So the flow of inertia forces. So as I said, the maximum amount of mass will attract maximum amount of force, and it has to be transferred to the base, or say at the bottom of the soil. So look, at the top floor there will be less forces, then it will transfer to the bottom floor, then it will transfer to the bottom floor, and then so on to the bottom level. So the force will be minimum at the top and it will be maximum at the base. As the inertial force accumulates downward from top of the building, the lower story experiences the higher force than the upper story. As I said, the forces are coming towards the downward. That's why upper story will be having lower forces and bottom story will be having the maximum forces. So our next theory is strength and stiffness. So what is strength? Strength is the property of an element to resist force. So if we consider a particular material, let us say a scale, plastic scale, we will try to bend. It will bend until its capacity, or say it is its strength, and later it will be broken up. So that is the strength of the particular material. In our case, it is a steel. So it will try to bend until its capacity, or say its strength, and later it will bend. So what is stiffness? Stiffness is the property of an element to resist displacement. So in our case, the member, like a column, will relate it to the stiffness, because columns are the only member which will try to resist the displacement of the building. So column should be stiff or should be ductile. If it is stiff, then it will attract more forces and it will deform. It should be flexible enough to resist the forces as well as the displacement. So here there are two structures I have shown. This is the load bearing structures, and here it is a frame structure. Load bearing structures are not good enough to take the horizontal forces because there are brittle materials. Here you can look that bricks columns are there. So it is a very brittle case that it will fall whenever the horizontal force occurs. On the other case, this is a frame structure in which column, beam connection, slab is resting on the beam, then beams are resting on the columns and columns are resting on the foundation. There is a good connectivity to transfer the load as well as a good ductility because of the steel member. So this is the comparison between the ductile material and a brittle material. Now, it's a case. Now here, let us understood what happens whenever the waves or say earthquake vibration occurs. So here you are looking a house. Let us connect from the roof a string, which is another point is connected to the vehicle, let's say a tractor. Now try to pull this. While the tractor moves ahead, this displacement will take place, and as soon as we cut this coil or say rope, the building will start oscillating. So it will oscillate like this. It will back and forth. So it will try to move until the forces got resolved or say forces got reduced. So with respect to time, it will oscillate. So it will go back and forth. Like here, the pendulum has been shown. If we apply a force, it will try to oscillate and then it will come to its original position. So here I have explained in a GIF representation. This is an explanation of wind force. Like look, if force is acting, it will move ahead, then come back, move ahead and come back. So it is a back and forth kind of movement. So the amplitude will be like in such a way. It will back and forth with respect to time. Now, how many times or how many number of oscillation will take place with respect to time? What it is, the time taken in second for each complete cycle of oscillation, that is one go back and forth and come at its original position. So one complete back and forth moment is the same, is called fundamental natural period, which is also known as T. So fundamental natural period of the particular building is, it will oscillate, which is come back and forth, come back and forth. Means it will possess some oscillation. So value of T depend on the flexibility of the mass. As say, if it is more flexible, it will have more oscillation. If it is having less flexible, it will have less oscillation. More the flexibility, the longer the T. Also, if it will try to oscillate until the time T. So if it is more flexible, it will move, then come. It will move and then it will come. More the mass, the longer the T. If it is a heavy mass building, it will the heavy the time. In general, taller buildings are more flexible. If it is a high rise, let's say 50 story or say 100 story, it will have more flexibility than compared to 10 story or say 5 story building, and have larger mass, more flexible. Taller buildings are more flexible because having larger mass, therefore have longer T. On the other hand, low and medium rise building having generally shorter T. Let me show you. Look, the T is time in second. So look, there is a smaller building having less than 1 second. This is a medium sized building having period of 1 second. This is a high rise building having greater than 2 seconds of period. Look, it will oscillate, and obviously if the limit comes or say its strength achieved, then it will be deformation up. So look, it will have a short time of oscillation, it will have some more longer time of oscillation, and it will have more time of oscillation. So this is just an GIF representation. Now there are some more cases regarding this. The time T, which building take how many number of seconds to oscillate. The fundamental natural period of the structure differ over the large range, obviously. The natural period value are only indicative depending on the actual properties of the structure. Natural period may vary considerably. If we consider two different materials, then possible the time period or say fundamental natural period may vary. Also, if we take a different kind of structures, let us say this is a single story house and this is a multi-story building. Then look, here single story building having 0.05 second of fundamental natural period. It is having 0.4 second. 15 story may have 1 second. This is an elevated water tank, as we are seeing, it having 4 seconds. Chimney kind of structure may have 2 seconds. There is a suspension bridge having 6 seconds. It took 6 seconds to go, come back and to its original position. It takes to and fro kind of movement, and to complete the one cycle it takes approximately 6 seconds, which is huge enough. There are many videos available of California bridge of oscillation. You may have a look. Also, a large concrete gravity dam may have up to 0.8 seconds. So, look, short period waves having less time. Look, medium wave having some more time to short period, and long period waves having T as a long. It takes a longer time. So time taken by an earthquake wave to complete one cycle of a motion is called period of the earthquake wave. So the waves also have the time period. So it is called the period of the earthquake wave. Similarly, as we have understood in the building case. Now in general, earthquake shaking of the ground has whose period vary range of 0.03 to 33 seconds. So it is vary between 0.03 seconds to 33 seconds. So it having such more huge range. Now even with this range, some of the earthquake waves are stronger than the other. Now intensity of earthquake also depend on different things, like as number of factors like as magnitude of earthquake, epicentral distance. Obviously, if we are at a more distance, we will experience some less wave as compared to which are near to the epicentral distance. Type of ground, obviously, rocky type of soil, or say medium sandy soil, or say clay soil. Also, in such case, the wave differs that the earthquake wave traveled through before reaching to the location of interest. So it depends it depends on various factors the waves to be transmitted. Now also here you can see different building. Obviously we have recently seen that different building having different kind of oscillation, or say different kind of time period. So intensity of damage depends on the thickness of underlying soil layer. So here it is, you can see that 1967 Caracas earthquake, in which the depth of the soil was in 0.0250 to 100 meter, then 3 to 5 story building having maximum damage, and the depth is more, like I said, 200 to 250 or say 300 meter, the multi-story or say 10 to 14 story building having the major damage up to 40 to 30%. So this was the case of strength and stiffness.